Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East West Show. Jack Chow on the East West with the G&E TV under EDI, the beautiful flagship. Yes, for the show itself, I have made it my task that every time when moments allow, we bring in local news and local what's going on to inform my audiences. In this case, we're talking about West Covina. West Covina is a beautiful city. We've been here for almost 30 years, and we love it. We are not planning of going anywhere. So it is our home. It is our city. Today, we're talking about the community safety. We're talking about making West Covina a safe city. Joining me is my good friend, Corporal McLean,
yes,
right? Stephen McLean of West Covina PD. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir.
All right, good, very good. You don't have to serve me.
Okay, sorry, right. It's habit.
Yeah, yes, happy. Yes, sir. I like that kind of thing, right? So I will start the show with a little introduction about yourself, please. Mm-hmm. Like, say, when did you join the PD? Starting from where to where? What you do, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I started with the West Covina Police Department back in 1997 as a police explorer volunteer. Did that for approximately 4 years. Then I was hired as a community service officer, responsible for taking reports out in the field and responding to calls for service. And I did that for approximately 2 years. I then had the fortunate opportunity to be hired as a police officer with the city of West Covina in 2004, where I then attended a police academy at the Rio Hondo Community College and graduated from there several months later. And I have been sworn going on almost 14 years now, and currently employed with the West Covina Police Department.
Exactly. In spite of the fact that you're sworn in for only 14 years, if you go back to 1997, though, you're talking about 21 years.
Yes.
Right? 21 years involved in the business, which now, to me, is the most important business than anything else, because we're facing all kinds of, we're hearing all kinds of bad news. What happened in Florida was a bad news. Yesterday, we had some good news. In the city of Whittier, I believe you're aware of that, there is an event of the similar nature got successfully prevented. That is the PD work, that is community work, and so on and so forth. And I believe the same thing will happen in West Covina. Like, say, I mean, in a collaboration with everybody's efforts, though, those bad things will make sure never happen in West Covina. Right? Do you think we're confident about that?
Yes, West Covina Police Department always strives in being proactive. And what I mean by that is we're constantly being vigilant, interacting with the community, our local schools, our local shopping malls, because we know we have that potential for a tragic event like the one in Florida to occur. So we are constantly being proactive. And the big thing that occurred in Whittier is that if you hear something, if you see something, you got to say something.
You're right.
And that's the main key, is that we need to work together as a police department and as a community to hopefully prevent something tragic like that from occurring.
Yeah. Very good, very, very sounding statement. See something, say something, which is the term that we all say on the lips, but actually we really want to put them into practice. Everybody, if everybody sees something, say something, though, there's no shield at all, because nobody can, good guys or bad guys, nobody can operate in a vacuum. You have to be in the community with people seeing you, right? Watching you. If everybody seeing you say something, and then that something will never happen, right? Next question, though. I know West Covina has a big school district, right? And we have lots of schools. How do you see, as a police officer, the protection of the schools, our kids?
Well, we do have school resource officers. We have one assigned to South Hills High School. We have one assigned to West Covina High School, and one assigned to Edgewood Middle School and High School. So we have that level of protection where we actually have a police officer on site available to the staff, interacting with the students on the campus. But then there's also everybody else that works during those hours of operation at a patrol level, that if needed, we can call for additional resources to assist with any incident that occurs on the campus.
Well, it's something very good to learn, that we say West Covina schools, at least our kids are safe. For a beautiful city, our kids deserve the best protection. I believe the West Covina PD provides that with the officers assigned, even with officers on site. That is, to the most extent, to my eye, a good protection too already. And my friend Luann Arredondo, commissioner of West Covina. Oh, by the way, she has lots of other titles, right? So when she briefed me, she was talking about the police unity tour, right? So was that a program that you plan to introduce to my audience today?
Yes.
All right, go ahead, feel free.
So the Police Unity Tour actually began in 1997. And it was started with approximately 18 officers that decided to get together and do a ride on a bicycle. Police Unity Tour began with 18 officers back in 1997 that rode from Florham Park, New Jersey to Washington, D.C. Over a 4-day period. And the main purpose of the Police Unity Tour is to raise public awareness of the police officers that have been killed or died in the line of duty and made the ultimate sacrifice. The second purpose of the Police Unity Tour is to also raise money for the national law enforcement. So the Police Unity Tour is going on its 22nd year. And as of last year, there were approximately 2,400 riders that traveled into Washington, D.C. to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. And last year raised approximately $2.6 million from 18,000 that they raised the very first year in '97. And all that money goes towards the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial to help preserve that wall, that more than 21,000 names of officers that are on the wall who have died in the line of duty and that have made that ultimate sacrifice.
Obviously, we all want to make sure that we understand police officers are not robots. They are human beings too, like you are, like myself, right? When they go back home, they have their own wives, they have their kids, they have their own life. So this kind of a work that everybody, like what I'm doing now, I walk out the door in the morning, I know that I will be back, right? For that kind of job, you are never sure. You could die on line of duty. So that is very understandable situation. And in the meantime, we really want our audience to be aware of the fact that they are human beings. They are trying their best to protect ourselves, right?
Yes.
And a day ago, I was having a conversation with Officer Mosley and Officer Black. And I like them. They are nice people. They're nice individuals, right? And only in uniform. So that's the only thing, the difference. But other than that, out of the uniform, we're all the same community members. I like to take, I like to write. So what do we do locally with the right?
So we have a team of officers that are with the West Covina Police Department, and we partner up with the Southern California chapter, which consists of 400 plus members from Southern California and some other surrounding states. And we ride in the Police Unity Tour in May of this year. And it's a 3-day ride traveling approximately 300 miles from Somerset, New Jersey to Washington, D.C., where we will meet up with other chapters of the Unity Tour at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial.
And the officers from West Covina will go there, join them?
Yes, we will ride with our chapter, and there are other chapters that are involved that start from different locations in the East Coast, and we all ride to Washington, D.C. With our chapter and arrive at the memorial wall.
And what you want to bring to my audience is when of course, I'm really not familiar with this whole issue, and I want to find more when we come back after this short break. Shall we, please?
Yes.
Very good. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the discussion of community safety of our police department, West Covina Police Department. With me today is my good friend, Stephen McLean. She is a corporal of West Covina PD, and he is here talking about the Police Unity Tour to bring it to the awareness of our audiences about the necessity, about the significance, and about whole stories about the PD. So stay with us. And we are checking with him about how many members of the police officers in West Covina PD?
This year we're going to be having 4 members from the West Covina Police Department participating in this year's Police Unity Tour.
The 4 will be representing the PD.
Yes.
Right, for the tour. All right, and you have some statistics about the numbers?
Yeah, so to give you an idea of what police officers deal with on a daily basis, some statistics that will help you understand. Approximately every 60 hours, a police officer is killed protecting our communities.
Hours.
Yes, every 60 hours. Approximately 58,000 officers every year are attacked, and approximately 5,000 officers every year are injured as a result of those attacks. And approximately on average, every year, 146 police officers are killed or die in the line of duty, protecting our communities and our families and making that ultimate sacrifice.
That's without a question and risky, very risky job, versus the community safety. If everybody sees a result like we see in West Covina, the safety environment, and I would glorify those deaths, those situations, those sufferings whatsoever to our lovely police officers. On the other hand, they are only human beings themselves, right?
Okay. Yes.
And you have, and my Lou says that you have some stories to share with the audiences, please?
Yeah, so this is going to be my 3rd year participating in the Police Unity Tour. And the first year that I rode in the Police Unity Tour, I rode in the honor of Police Officer Bryce Haynes. He was a police officer with the San Bernardino Police Department, and I did not have the privilege of being able to meet Officer Haynes, but I did have a classmate that worked at the San Bernardino Police Department. And right before the Unity Tour began 2 years ago, Officer Haynes was killed in the line of duty by a DUI driver. And I wanted to use this opportunity to make sure that his life did not go unnoticed. And I wanted to ride in his honor. So that's what I did. that year for the police unity tour, I was able to obtain a San Bernardino Police Department patch, and I put that on my uniform, and I rode in the honor of Officer Bryce Haynes
I see.
that year.
When you say ride, actually, it's not a rhetorical word. It's the actual riding.
Yes.
You're riding on police cars, or you're riding motorcycles?
So you are on a road bicycle,
Oh.
and you are actually pedaling for approximately 300 miles from New Jersey all the way to Washington, D.C. over a 3-day period.
I see. So from West Covina to New Jersey, so you fly or you drive?
So we fly from here in LA to New Jersey about a week before the Unity Tour begins.
I see.
We actually break our bikes down and we place them into a bike box, which then gets shipped to New Jersey. So that way when we arrive, our bikes are there waiting for us. We have to reassemble our bikes, and then a couple of days after that, we take off from New Jersey towards DC.
And after the riding, you disassemble and shift them on the airplane and bring it back to West Covina.
Yes.
I see. So, okay, all right. So, is this a event or annual event that is well accepted by the community members, or something new that a lot of people do not even know?
So, the purpose of being here today is to try to bring awareness to this event, because I think that a lot of people don't know about it. So here today to give you an idea that what officers do outside of the line of duty. And it's not just officers who ride in this Unity Tour. It's active, it's retired officers, it's also survivors that participate in this ride. And what I mean by survivors, the survivors are usually a family member of somebody who lost a loved one in the line of duty. And they are allowed to participate on this Unity Tour ride to remember the life of their loved one. And going back to my story from earlier about riding for Officer Bryce Haynes, is I didn't know him personally. I never had the privilege of meeting him, but I got to meet his family for the very first time when I arrived in Washington, D.C. And the feeling and the interaction of meeting them for the first time was overbearing with emotion. And it made me realize that what a great event this Police Unity Tour is, because it allows for, in this case, a complete stranger who, yes, we are both police officers, we both wear blue, we're considered brothers in the line of duty in our profession, but I'm able to ride in his honor as a complete stranger, and never meeting this person, but getting to know his life through his family. And in return, they see that the life of their son, their father, their brother, their husband has not been lost.
All right. As a result, the police officers, regardless where they belong, they got to unify in a more solid way. Am I right?
That is correct.
All right, good. And talking about the donations along the ride, is that happening in a big way, or it's kind of you are still having a hard time that you want to raise money for it?
Yes, so each individual rider has to raise approximately $1,900. And a part of that donation, about 1,000 of it goes directly to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. So the donations that we receive go to preserving the wall with all of those 21,000 plus officers' names on it, to preserve it, because it's privately owned. The other portion of the donation that each rider has to raise is hotels, food, and accommodations during the ride, because it is a several day process to get from New Jersey to Washington, D.C.
Another word is the self-supporting ride is not a taxpayer's money.
Correct.
All right, very good. And who owns the memorial wall?
It's privately owned. I'm not sure exactly who owns it, but I know that the Police Unity Tour is a primary sponsor and donator to the National Law Enforcement.
Why
Officer
wouldn't the
Memorial.
government do something to maintain it?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that.
I always ask questions without an answer.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, my dear friends, today I'm having some good time with my dear friend Stephen McLean, Corporal of West Covina PD. He's talking about something that is new to me, however, making sense is the National Police Unity Ride, the tour. It's a very significant tour to bring the awareness of to our community members of on line of duty what officers are facing. So stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the discussion about our police officers. And they're the ones in uniform. They are the ones armed with weapons, but out of uniform, they are the same individual, same human being like you and I am, right? So, today in the discussion with me is my good friend, Corporal Steve McLean of West Covina. And he is talking about a movement or a tour, a ride called the Police Unity. Right? So we are talking about the significance of the tour to bring awareness of the audiences, of the community members about the police officers. As police officers, can you please describe to me what's your daily life or daily work look like?
Well,
so that my audience will understand, oh yeah, this is what they do, right?
Well, our department, we are scheduled, in patrol, we are scheduled 3 12-and-a-half-hour shifts.
3 12-and-a-half-hour shift.
Yes.
Once you were on duty, you were there for 12 and a half hours.
Sometimes longer. But minimum of 12-and-a-half hours.
Mm-hmm. Minimum 12. And how many of the 12-and-a-half shift that you run in a week?
I currently am assigned to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so I work 3 days that I'm scheduled. But there's also overtime available. There's court that we have to go for cases that we may be involved in the past, or even department training to make sure to keep us current with the new laws and new tactics to keep us safe on the street.
By 12 and a half is almost 40 hours per week already, right?
Yes.
So during that 40 hours, what would you be doing normally?
Well, I'm assigned to patrol, so I am out in the field in a marked black and white patrolling.
Black and white, not a motorbike?
No, not a motorbike, either a car or an SUV.
I see.
And my primary function is to respond for calls for service and take reports when necessary, do traffic enforcement, or just proactively patrol the community trying to prevent crime from occurring.
So in your 14 years of experiences, what moment were you in, or have you trapped in a situation that you feel dangerous?
Well, I mean, every day we go out on the patrol, we know the dangers that we face. But more and more today, we face criminals that should still be in a secured facility. But because of recent law changes, they have been released early. And the punishments for the crimes that they're committing are not as harsh as they used to be to keep them in a secure jail facility for their crime. So we get more and more confrontation from criminals than we ever have in law enforcement. And we get involved in foot chases. We get involved in vehicle pursuits. Not only we are expected to act in those dangerous situations, but we respond to medical assist calls, and sometimes we arrive before the fire department does, where we may have to perform CPR or some type of life-saving measure, first aid. And so, and even sometimes we're asked to be a counselor, whether it be a relationship issue, whether it be a parent having a problem with their child. So we're tasked with a lot to handle, and we have to be able to accomplish all of those throughout our daily duties.
In other words, you guys are responding to all those day-to-day occurrences,
Yes.
right? Or domestic violence, or a peacekeeping escort, something like that, right?
Yes.
Or running around for bad guys, right? Some type of foot chase, right?
Yes.
Something like that. And that's a very hard job, and it's a very, I would say, unpredicted jobs that you'll never know what you will end up doing, right? So in those moments, though, I mean, for 14 years, past 14 years, had there been a moment or time when you were facing a lot of danger,
Yes.
life threatening? Give me some examples, please.
For example, was involved in a vehicle chase of a suspect who was driving a stolen vehicle. And during that chase, we were traveling the streets of West Covina at very high dangerous speeds. And this was on a Friday afternoon, approximately 11, 12 in the afternoon. And we are chasing this person, one, to protect the community from this person. And we're traveling speeds that are very dangerous. He's running red lights. He's running stop signs. He's showing no regard for public safety or the officers that are pursuing him. And eventually, we were able to capture this individual at the termination point of the pursuit and safely get this person into custody, protecting not only our own lives, but protecting the lives of the community, which is our primary purpose.
All right. Speaking of that chase, though, that calls a lot of driving skills. Sometimes I see cars driving like over 100 in the chase. In such a situation when driving, you yourself could be killed,
Yes.
right? So is there any action that happens on the way in the process of chasing?
Yes. So going back to that example, we did have a couple cars that were involved in traffic collisions. One of them was actually caused by the suspect. The suspect actually rammed one of our officers during the chase in an attempt to get away. So again, the danger involved in these chases that we are involved in more and more today are very dangerous, and it does require a lot of skill to be able to drive after somebody when they are controlling the situation for the most part.
All right. Hard job. Today, my audience is with me is my good friend, Mr. Stephen McLean, Officer Stephen McLean. He is with the West Covina PD, talking about the police life, right? And it is no easy life for a police officer. And the same like everybody else. Me, if somebody asks myself, how's your life? I said, I had no easy job, something like that, right? Well, because we're only human beings. Let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll put all the ends together to see how things are related in a society that you have everybody doing its own part of his job so that we have a peaceful community, peaceful society. Otherwise, we don't. Stay with us, please. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. It's a very relaxed discussion between me and Officer McLean talking about West Covina PD. It is our city, it is our community, and those officers are our brothers and sisters. We understand that, right? But thing is that when something happens, they are the one that they put their lives in line, which is, well, their job. Such as myself, I'm sitting here, whatever happens, I'm the one. You see me at a certain hour, a certain day, as always, well, like the sun rises or sets, like that kind of thing. That's why putting everybody's function together, this whole community functions as a society. Right? However, some of the functions are, well, there might be no that much risk to your life, and this police part of their function really has the problem. And I have Officer McLean talking about being a police officer. In his case, 14 years, that's a long year, and 12 and a half hours is a long shift. I will doze off halfway, right? So, something personal. I want to get into the personal perspective to see what kind of a personal life you guys are putting up with, right? So, are you married by any chance?
I am married.
You are married. You have any kids?
I do.
All right. How many?
2.
2. How old are they?
2 boys, 8 and 5.
Oh, 2 boys and 8 and 5. All right. Now, so now you have your own family of 4, right? And does your wife work?
She does.
Oh, she does. Okay. Now, when you started day work, and well, you of course, like say you performing those job duties you describe, to your wife, her concern, she's not a police officer, is she?
No, she's not.
She's not, right? How much worry does she have about your safe return every day? Is an everyday thing. When I go to work, my wife never say, "Hey, come back alive," like that kind of thing, right? Right. Well, to her it's a situation like that, right? So how does she handle that piece?
Well, we actually met when we were both.
How many years you guys married?
We've going on 12 years.
Okay, very good. Okay,
marriage.
so okay.
And we actually both met when we were police explorers. I was a police explorer with West Covina Police Department, and she was a volunteer police explorer with Montebello Police Department.
Okay.
And her desire was to be a police officer in the beginning. She had an unfortunate accident when she was in the academy, and she got injured. So she wasn't able to pursue that career.
I see.
So she has a good understanding of how dangerous our job is on a daily basis. But she's a human being just like the rest of us, and she is naturally going to have those worry moments of when I leave that day and I walk out that door and I give her a kiss goodbye. Is this the last time I'm going to see him?
Yeah, could be that way. Yeah, could
Absolutely.
be that way. Yes.
And the same for me. I walk out that door at the beginning of my shift wondering, am I going to return home to my wife and kids? So that is always something constantly on your mind on a daily basis. So it takes a mental toll on you. But my father was a police officer. That's what got me started in this career at a very young age. And I knew from the very beginning.
Tradition.
Tradition, yes.
All right.
So I'm second generation police officer.
I see.
And that has given me the opportunity to work this profession. And I will tell you right now, I think this is one of the best professions that is out there.
Of course,
I'm a police officer because not because of the pay, not because of the benefits, but because I enjoy what I do. I come to work every single day with passion to protect the people I work for, the citizens of West Covina, and being a part of that brotherhood that, if, like you said earlier, doesn't matter if I work for West Covina, if I work for Covina, if I work for LAPD, or another officer that's maybe on a different side of the United States. We are all brothers and sisters. We all have the same goals.
Understood.
And we're here for the same purpose.
I mean, you mentioned your father. Your mother still with him?
No.
All right. So your father, no problem, because he has been a police officer himself all his life, right?
Yes.
And how much do the kids know? How much do the kids appreciate the fact that you're a police officer?
My kids love it. I
yeah.
actually had the opportunity to go to their school and do a career day. And I went in full uniform. I went with a black and white police car. And at the time I was working our canine team. So I actually had a dog as my partner. And my son was as happy as he could be.
Yeah.
My oldest actually already has made comment to me that he wants to follow in my footsteps and be a police officer himself.
Wow, well, the legacy will be carried.
Hopefully.
Will be carried, right? So, and of course, they are still too young to realize there is the other part, the negative part, right? Okay. Now, to you yourself, though, may I know how old you are, please?
I am 34 years old.
34 years old. Thank you. And I know at the same you're the same age, folks. The folks of your same age, probably amongst them, you are making more than them do, but you pay, well, let's say, you make 20-30% more than they do. But you run into a situation that you could get yourself killed, right? Which is fair. That's not part of the argument. The argument is that in lots of situations where there is a shooting happened, the public turns to blame the police officers, right? And of course, there are kind of resentment to talk about, except those situations like Michael Brown. You know Michael Brown, right?
Yes.
Okay. So unlike those cases that the public see clearly what exactly happened, especially on the scene, other than that, those situations are mystifying. So how are you being supportive to the chest cameras? This is the thing we're talking about, and the LAPD is doing it. They are thinking they will do it, and West Covina, well, I don't know.
Yeah, West Covina does not currently have body cameras, but we do have cameras in our police cars that are activated during certain events. But the main thing for those devices, that technology, is to show the public that, one, we are human as well, but second, that we have nothing to hide. When I go out on my daily shift, I operate, and I know I can speak for a lot of my colleagues, we operate as if there are no cameras watching us, because I think that as a human being, if you're doing the right thing for the right reason, you're gonna, be okay at the end. So, with the public and with the media, they rely a lot on what the video has to show.
Yeah.
But the video is only a small portion of that event. It only shows you one angle of the incident, whether it be from the officer, whether it be from a cell phone camera from a bystander, whether it be from a surveillance camera on a business. You don't know what was going through that officer's mind at the time of that incident, what that officer perceived. And we go through training, and there's studies to prove and back up that as human beings, our brain only functions as fast as the body will allow it to.
You're right.
And everybody's
You're talking about
different.
a nanosecond,
Yes.
right?
What I perceive as a threat, and by the time my brain registers that as a threat and sends the message down to my body to
it
react,
may be later
there's a lot of
proven to
delay.
be wrong, but to the very specific moment, which is a nanosecond maybe, well, that's your perceive right away.
Yes.
As the direct response, or even distinct by instinct, right? So, and that is understood. And I believe one thing in general, it's a very complicated job, and it's a risky job regardless, right? So, and I'm very happy that you love this job, and your both sons love this job, and your wife does that too. And your father, of course, he started the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we thank God that we have human beings like Officer McLean, and the West Covina PD has lots of wonderful officers. Even I personally know quite a few. And we know that West Covina is safe, And today, in talking about the Unity Ride, we stretch ourselves to the police work, the nature of the business. So with me, my good friend, Stephen McLean, we shared a lot from his side. So thank you very much, my dear audiences, for watching. And to Officer McLean, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, good.
And if I can add just one thing for the audience.
Yeah, please.
If you are interested in donating for the Police Unity Tour or to the riders from the West Covina Police Department, you can log on to SoCalPUT.com, and on that website for the SoCalPUT.com, you can click on the Donate tab, and you can actually donate to any individual rider, or you can donate to the team of West Covina by writing a check to the Southern California Chapter Police Unity Tour, and then in the memo box you can write Team West Covina for your donation.
All right, certainly my audience will see that information on the screen and do accordingly. All right, thank you very much. We'll see you next time.